Magnifying glasses at the ready. Stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good morning everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, this is a very different type of video and I won't be doing these that often, but the schedule was this week: design a 3D part, print a 3D part, fit a 3D part and paint a 3D part. Then going back again and design a 3D part, print a 3D part, fit a 3D part and paint a 3D part, and so on and so on and so on and so on. It would have been, I've made a fence, let's fit it, and I've made another fence, let's fit it. So I decided to just do the video and show you what I've actually done. Now, I'll show you this bit in a minute. Now, I mentioned at the end of the last video that I thought this was too tall and it came up and banked in. It was about up here. And there were a fair few comments along the same sort of lines. Yes, we all agree, chop it down. So that's what I've done. So I've chopped it down pretty much to the level of the viaduct and domed it over slightly too. So hopefully that does look a lot better. It isn't in keeping with the mill slope, but as we've said before, I need to tie things in together from one zone to the next. Now, so let's show you what I've done. I'll start around here. This is very minor, but I have, first of all, stuck this part of the building down. If I zoom you out, this part of the building was sticking up like that, and it wasn't bonded into the base unit. So that was my first port of call, to lift it up slightly, dribble a whole load of hot glue in there and just press it down and hold it in. And then I cut the two channels out ready for the slope. That grey blob will be removed, changed, whatever you want to do, blended in. So don't worry about that. But it's starting to look a little bit better. I didn't do this bit because there's a whole load of walls to come here, and I thought there's no point in trying to blend that in, particularly if I'm going to cover it all up. So going around here, yeah, I still haven't done this bit, and that needs to be done. But this bit, obviously you can see here, is a frame, and then I used some of this. Now, you might remember a year or more ago, I bought this. This is a paint filter that I bought from a decorating shop. So it comes as more of like a bag that you put over the tin, and then you tip the tin through it and it takes out all the micro lumps, whatever you might want to call it. But I decided to actually colour this time with a marker pen, and it seemed to work beautifully. So hopefully you can see that bit down there. So it does look an awful lot better. And then obviously there's a whole series of fences running around the outside. And then of course we've got this bridge which goes across here. Now, if you look at the real thing, you will see there is a set of steps running up there and then the bridge going in. Let me show you, like that. You can see them just there. So that's what I've tried to do, just moving the iPad out of the way. And obviously then we've got the bridge going across, and there are railings either or. There are different types of, there's a different type of fence both sides. So that's an interesting little feature. Moving on round. Now, I have to be honest, this section did take a very, very, very long time. And that's because all of these parts here, all those picnic benches and the canopies are all 3D printed. And the picnic benches come as tabletop, 2 seats, and there's 2 legs either side. I was going to put like a triangle piece underneath, but then realised I've got to put the post down through the table, and that would hold the parasol in place. The post is literally just a piece of wire. I'm not even bothered to paint it because the chances of seeing it are so remote. So I've not even bothered. And obviously there's a wall going around the outside there now. Yeah, so you can see that from the other side. And there are the steps going down as you saw in the last video. But I've now got the railings on. And I've also put some foliage into this area just here now. And coming round to here, You saw the bridge going in there, and there is a bridge, as you can see there. I'm presuming that was something to do with a watermill, but I can't be certain. I don't know. And obviously there's now a set of railings along there, and some more railings running along the front down here. Now this area here has been dramatically altered. You can see there's a wall running around there, and there is actually a gate in there. You might be able to make it out from just beyond that first parasol. Yeah, you can just about see it there. So we're talking, sorry about the shake, sorry my finger's huge, but just there behind that first parasol. And this wall here has had several layers. There's about 4 layers deep there, and then it's been smothered in foliage. So obviously you can see it's still wet, it's quite white. That will obviously clear up. And I've put a tree in just there. Now, obviously there needs to be a whole load more trees going in at that point, but there's an awful lot more work to do there. So that's probably, in terms of what I've done, about it. But the next stage is this bit, and that's where it's going to start getting interesting again. Right, so I'm taking you through this area here now, and that's taken us out to the steps, and there's the canopies, okay? So if I come down these steps now, and there's an arrow about there, I think. Oh, there it is. It brings us into this area here. Now that is where the steps were, or are, and the restaurant is up there. So if we look here now, we've got this large metal plate which sits here. Now from that image it looks as if it's actually quite low down, but if I take you to the next bit and look back at it, you can see it's actually quite high up. And so obviously we come down the steps and there's this wall running around the outside, and then we've got this big platform obviously sitting there. Whether that's a stage or something, I don't know. It's possibly it's a stage. Otherwise, I'm not totally sure what it's for. But then we've got all these old trolleys just there, scattered about, that were probably used in the mill. But the wall does go around the outside. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting, because the little bridge that I've just been talking about and the little railings, there's some more wall, and that wall goes straight up there. But if you look at that, that does look fairly straight. So that does have implications on the model, which I'll show you about in a minute. And that wall obviously runs along so far, and then we've got another wall on top of that. Now that's the wall enclosing this area in here. And there's that little platform, well, large platform I was telling you about inside there. So let's look at the model and I'll show you what that means for that. Right, so what does that mean for the model? Well, obviously we've got the wall running around here like that. And then we've got that platform that goes about here. And there's a load of trolleys scattered about inside there. Other than that, that's quite a simple area. That's not a problem. It's this bit. And it's become quite obvious that this area is too large and needs somehow cutting down. Now, obviously, this bit, the wall comes along here and there's foliage and trees in this area, not this area. So somehow I'm going to have to cut through there and then press it down. So I can use hot glue for that. Now, you might be thinking, why don't I just cut all that out and redo it? Well, I'm a little bit concerned about the river pour and creating leaks. So I want to try and keep it as sealed as possible. What I might do nearer the time is go over it with some, I've got like a silicone sealer type thing, which I'm not showing you now, but I might just sort of smooth some of that over the outside, blend that in, put some scatter over the top of it. And then once that's dry, go over the top with the matte varnish again, just to dull it all down. So that might work. but I do need to cut this out and then press it in. I might even think that this is actually too sharp and actually should have come across more like that. So I'll have to have a think about that. Whether I chop that corner section out and do it again, I don't know at the moment. Knowing me, I probably will, and then bring these trees out slightly, which would then make that look an awful lot better. I'll think about it. Okay, so that's food for thought. I'm not one to shy away from these things. As you know, you've come in several times and seen the whole thing completely destroyed. I mean, last week, the last video I did on this, and all this area around here was completely mangled and destroyed and had to be completely rebuilt. But that's model making, and I'm not going to apologise for that, because I want it to be the best it can possibly be with the facilities I've got. All right, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, seeing what's been done and what I'm hoping to do next, and I'll catch you shortly here on Piccadilly. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.